right, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Can everybody in the back hear? Yep, good. All right. Well, my name is Marshall Meek, and I'm the president of the Washburn University Alumni Association and Foundation. And we are so thankful that you were able to join us here on this beautiful July afternoon for the dedication of Washburn University School of Law's Robert J. Dole Hall. It is incredible to see such a great crowd. We're joined by a number of federal, state, and local officials, as well as numerous justices from courts at essentially every level. And I think all of that speaks to just how integral Washburn Law is to the political, legal, and civic life of our community and state. Thank you for being here. We're honored that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to join us for this monumentous occasion. Looking around, I also see a lot of Washburn leaders in the crowd, past and present, people who have helped make today happen. I see President Emeritus Jerry Farley in attendance, right there. I know this is a dream come true, and I also know personally that he put untold hours of phone calls and personal meetings and planning sessions over many years to make today happen. Thank you, Dr. Farley, for everything that you did for Washburn. I see regents and foundation board members, so many of whom adopted this cause as their own and helped to drive it forward. I see current and former law faculty who from the very beginning articulated their vision for a new home for the school. Today, it is largely your dream that has been realized. We have a large number of law school students and alumni who rallied around this project like no other in school history. And I see so many of you, especially up front here, who directly contributed to making today happen with time, talent, and treasure. I think it's fair to say that this was the most ambitious fundraising project in Washburn's history. It was 11 years ago, almost to the day, July 18th, 2012, when President Farley and Dean Tom Romig stood in front of the Board of Regents and presented their plan for a new building for Washburn Law. Financing such an ambitious project without compromising the vision for the law school was never going to be easy, and it was never a foregone conclusion that it would succeed. It took the combined efforts of more than 1,200 donors to make today happen, and we needed every single one of them. When you all get up after we cut the ribbon and go inside the building, you're going to see the phrase, "This room made possible by the generosity of," insert donor name, and I want you to know that we mean that very literally. It was the donors that made this project possible. Today simply could not have happened without the community of donors that arose to rally around this project, carry it on their backs, and take it across the finish line. I'm not going to individually recognize all 1,200 donors because we're trying to stick to a certain length of program here, but I do want to call out a small handful of donors who really went above and beyond. These are folks who each gave $250,000 or more to this project, and those are the kind of gifts that make or break projects like this, and indeed, they made this happen. So I know you aren't all in attendance today, but if you are, please give a wave or stand as I call your name. Cynthia Heath. Mark and Lisa Heights. Michael and Doreen Manning. Sunderland Foundation. George and Teresa Barton. Folston Siefkin LLP. Paul and Jean Hofer. John and Michelle Peterson. Jim and Linda Slattery. Kent and Karen Smith. Jackie Summerson, and Catherine Webb. It took the combined efforts of everybody to make today happen. All parts of our university coming together, and philanthropic and civic leaders across our community. And today, at last, the Washburn University School of Law has the home that it needs, that it deserves, and that it has earned. Thank you, all of you, for making today possible. And go ahead. Yeah, all of you. I saw that. And now I'm pleased to introduce the interim dean of the Washburn University School of Law, Dean Jeffrey Jackson.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the new home of Washburn University School of Law. Thank you so much for attending today and for helping us celebrate. As Marshall said, I have the honor of serving as interim dean here at Washburn University School of Law and as a professor of law for 16 years prior to that. So I want to start by thanking Marshall and the entire Washburn University Alumni Association and Foundation, because they tackled the campaign for this building on our behalf, and we know it was no easy task. I want to recognize Patrick McKessick, who led the foundation team, and they all threw themselves into making this happen. They've been wonderful partners and champions for us in this project, and all of us here at Washburn Law owe you a tremendous gratitude. Thank you so much to all of our donors on this project. You know, from the very beginning, we knew that a project as audacious as this was going to take a lot of donors. And it was going to take from the people who made small donations all the way up to our philanthropic leaders who really helped get the project off the ground, keep it going as the years went by, and who ended up getting this project done in a big way. We're honored by all of our alumni and friends who've made such major investments to the future of legal education here at Washburn, and we thank you. Today marks an exciting new chapter in this history of Washburn Law and the beginning of a new era for all of us who are part of the Washburn Law family. As you may know, I got my law degree here at Washburn, and it served me well. And that family of Washburn people has included the next generation, the students, who will come to know this building inside and out. And our alumni, some of the most incredible people and attorneys that you'll ever find. And we're especially honored to name this great building for perhaps our most noted graduate, Senator Robert Dole. Thank you, Robin, for joining us here today. Senator Dole's shining example and legacy lives on here at Washburn Law, not only in the name of the building that honors him, but for all of the students here who will see his name on the building and on the plaza and will realize that anything is possible and you can achieve great heights just as he did. It's a legacy to live up to, and we're very excited to do it. And the Washburn Law family includes all of those who came before us, because although I get to be dean now, I'm very cognizant of the fact that I stand on the shoulders of two of my predecessors, Washburn Law deans who are here in attendance today, Carla Pratt, Tom Romig. Both of them were incredibly instrumental in making this building a reality. From when it started as just a dream that Tom Romig started, to the time when Carla made everything about it a reality and then passed the baton on to me to, I guess, take the credit at the last minute. Thank you. We really, really appreciate all the hard work that both of you did. This is your legacy. And finally, tragically, our Washburn Law family suffered a terrible loss last month with the passing of former Dean Jim Concannon, who was in effect kind of the head of the family, because he was our leader, our moral compass, and our role model, and our friend. We feel his loss terribly. Our hearts go out to Melissa, his family, friends, and his legion of students, colleagues, mentees, and admirers. I'm all for those, so it's especially poignant. So when you come in here, you'll see the Dean Suite, which is named in his honor, and we hope contains his presence and will be here for the next 50 years of Washburn lawyers. Jim was incidentally the longtime holder of the Senator Robert J. Dole Professorship here at Washburn. And one thing I think that marked both Senator Dole and Professor Concannon as leaders is that they had their eyes fixed on the future, but also had a profound respect for our past. And I think this building accomplishes all of that as well. So I hope as you visit, you'll continue to think of all of the people who came before us, all of the students who helped get this, and all of the alumni and all of the donors, and how it will serve not only the current Washburn Law students, but generations to come. Because from this point forward, those who follow in our footsteps will begin their own legacies right here at the Robert J. Dole Hall of the Washburn University School of Law. Thank you for being here today and for helping us continue to build legacies.
Thank you, Dean Jackson. It's been a real pleasure to work with you and all of your colleagues at the law school over these last few years. And I know that for all of us at the foundation, the successful completion of this fundraising campaign and the opening of Dole Hall will absolutely be a highlight of our careers. So it is now my pleasure to ask President Julianne Mazichek up to the podium. Dr. Mazichek started her career at Washburn more than 30 years ago, and she has been a part of this project from the very beginning. She was here as president of the foundation when the fundraising campaign for the building was launched, and she's here now as the president of our university for its triumphant completion. Ladies and gentlemen, President Julianne Mazichek.
Thank you, Marshall. I would like to echo Dean Jackson in thanking you and your team for their hard work and dedication to this project, and to all of you who are donors who made this possible. I would also like to offer my and Washburn's profound condolences to Melissa and Dean Concannon's entire family and many friends on their recent loss. Dean Concannon was a pillar at Washburn Law, and he always challenged his students and colleagues alike to strive for excellence and to not be satisfied with anything less. His loss is and will continue to be deeply felt for many years to come. Excellence has always been a central part of Washburn Law's identity. When Washburn first explored the idea of creating a law school, it was felt that our proximity to the Capitol and Topeka's role as a home to so many of the state's leading lawyers and public servants made this a uniquely ideal place for the establishment of a great law school. That phrase, an ideal place, became the title of Dean Concannon's book on the history of Washburn Law. And I think those early founders have been proven entirely correct. Since this law school opened in 1903, the School of Law has been a beacon of excellent legal education. Washburn Law alumni have gone on to serve in Congress, as governors and attorneys general, as state Supreme Court justices and judges at every level. They are industry experts, educators, thought leaders, public servants, and community organizers. They serve just as effectively in Shawnee County or rural communities around Kansas as they do in state houses, national courts, or in Washington, D.C. They have had a tremendous impact on the legal field, both close to home and across the nation, as in Brown v. Board of Education, which you will see memorialized in a mural by artist Michael Toombs. And over these past 120 years, because of our distinguished alumni and our excellent faculty, Washburn Law has become known for a brand of legal education that emphasizes practical experience, civic engagement, and high standards of integrity and professionalism. Those values are a core part of our heritage, and they are also exemplified by one of Washburn Law's most famous, Senator Robert Dole. Senator Dole represented so much of what we hope Washburn Law students will strive to be: hardworking, selfless, passionate about giving voice to the voiceless, and committed to reaching across the aisle and working with others to achieve common goals. These are the values that Senator Dole lived every day, and these are the values that I hope live on in the graduates and alumni who follow him, and in the work and education that goes on in this new law building, and in the conversations and gatherings that occur at the outdoor plaza named in his honor through a gift from an anonymous donor. We hope you will enjoy the sculpture on the plaza by artist John Leiba, which also reflects Dole's work and many honors. And as Marshall mentioned, it took an amazing amount of collaboration and coming together to make this happen. We owe a tremendous debt of thanks to all the donors to this building, and we owe special gratitude to those who made leadership gifts of over $1 million. I'm going to recognize some of the names you've already heard. Please wave your hand when I call your name. Cynthia Heath, Mark and Lisa Heitz, Michael and Doreen Manning, the Sunderland Foundation, and an anonymous donor. Please join me in thanking them again. Your incredible commitments and your belief in this project were not only the vital funding this project needed, but they also spurred everybody else to believe in what we were doing and what we were trying to achieve, and that it was indeed possible. You created the momentum that carried us to success, and for that we are eternally grateful. But as impressive as this building is, something everybody who carried forward this project understood: it really is just a beautiful building. But what really matters is what happens inside this beautiful building. And inside Dole Hall, in the coming years and decades, you are sure to find a second-to-none legal education with high-achieving students, excellent faculty and dedicated staff who are committed to training our practice-ready lawyers, a law clinic that provides free services to those in need, one of the finest law libraries in our class, a nationally recognized law journal, innovative programs like the Third Year Anywhere and our Centers for Excellence, and oh, so much more. All of that excellence and the legacy of 120 years of outstanding law education will now live under this roof, under the banner of Washburn Law, in a building bearing the name of Senator Robert J. Dole. I'm so proud to say that we have with us today Robin Dole to say a few words about her father's legacy here. Please help me in welcoming Robin Dole.
I think I need sunglasses or reading glasses. I'm not sure which. Thank you so much, Dr. Mazichek. I really appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here. I just got a tour. I went to see the statue. I got to go in the building, and I got to see the plaza, and I'm just so impressed. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So I'm happy to be here with all such distinguished speakers and with all of you. And I want to also thank, I can't possibly remember everybody, but I do want to thank all the organizers, Dr. Farley from years ago, and all the organizers and the donors, because the donors are very important too, because this is just one incredible building and piece of property. I do want to say that Elizabeth asked me to express her regret that she cannot be here today for this momentous occasion. Unfortunately, she broke 2 ribs, and is not able to travel, but she is on the mend. She's doing much better. And I promise you that she is with us in spirit, and I gather she's going to be able to watch this and some other things going on this weekend. So I know she's excited about that. Washburn was far more than a school to my dad. It was the foundation that launched his legendary career. It was right here, close to here, where a teacher first suggested he go into politics. It was here where he completed not only his undergraduate degree, but also his law degree. And I believe he received 2 additional honorary degrees as well. It was also here where he relentlessly practiced writing with his left hand, staying up late as he transcribed class lectures from a tape recorder. His astonishing comeback from lying face down on an Italian battlefield was now on warp speed. With confidence, high academic achievement, and a passion for excellence, nothing was ever going to stop my dad. So I want to say thank you, Washburn. Thank you for giving Dad the very best education he could get. Thank you for helping him learn the value of hard work. Thank you for helping Dad become one of the most influential and well-respected public servants of our time. Elizabeth and I want you to know how much it means to us to have your new law school building named after my dad. We were all so moved by the incredible statue that I got to see today and the outdoor gathering space, which is way more than that, the Dole Plaza and the sculpture out there and the reflecting pools. We were all so moved, and now this beautiful building to add to it. He's going to be all over this campus. And I know if Dad were with us today, he would tell you what a tremendous honor it is to have a permanent place or 3 on your campus in the form of Robert J. Dole Hall. So I want to thank you, and Elizabeth joins me in thanking you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you, Robin. We are so grateful to you for being here. And your dad, I've never used that word to refer to Senator Dole, but your dad was truly a tremendous person, and he left such a tremendous legacy of service and difference-making. Thank you very much for being here. Washburn Law has a tremendous impact on its students, of course, but it also has a tremendous impact on Topeka, on our region, on the state of Kansas, and on the world around us. And as you can tell from the number of dignitaries and local and state leaders who have joined us here today, we are especially honored that both of our Kansas senators have taken time out of their schedules to commemorate this occasion. And to say a few words, it is my pleasure to first introduce Senator Roger Marshall.
Thanks so much, President. Thank you. Wow. Washburn University, you hung one on the wall today. Congratulations. You've got to be proud of this. I know I certainly am, and I know Senator Dole would be so proud to be here as well, to see his name on this hall. Governor Kelly, Senator Moran, President Mazichek, President Farley, it's great to see you. You look great. I don't know what happens when folks retire from these positions, but you certainly look great today. I know I got some state legislatures in the audience, and there's many, many honored guests here today as well. Robin, thanks for your inspirational words and your reflections about your father. I know it's hard to do. It's hard to speak about your loved ones at moments like this. You know, every time I saw him, though, Robin, I want you to know he mentioned you. But I have to also admit that he always had to tell me about your golden doodles, Cooper and JoJo. And he may have loved them more than he loved you, but he certainly loved you as well. You know, Senator Dole and Elizabeth both love pets, and I know Elizabeth wishes she was here today. Elizabeth, you're going to see this, or you may be seeing it live. We miss you. We want to send our love and support your way and wish you an early happy birthday. So next week, everyone can send some get well wishes and happy birthday wishes to Senator Elizabeth Dole. I can't think of a better place to honor Bob Dole's legacy and celebrate what would have been his 100th birthday than here in the capital city, on the campus of his alma mater, Washburn University, home of the Fighting Bods. I want to give a hearty congratulations to each and every one of you who have made this law school building a reality, from President Mazichek and Dean Jeffrey Jackson, Marshall Meek with the foundation, and so many others. Washburn University School of Law has played a pivotal role in all our Kansas communities. And I know my hometown and so much of Kansas is blessed to have had many of your former law school graduates. And many of these folks have specialized in oil and gas law as well as agriculture. Others have went on to become judges and served in the legislature. But the state of Kansas is grateful for all the great not only senators, but as well as attorneys that have come from this campus. And one of those graduates, of course, was the pride of Russell, Kansas, a war hero who was nearly fatally wounded serving our nation in World War II. But he overcame those setbacks and lifelong injuries, and later became the United States Senate Majority Leader and the GOP nominee for the presidency of the United States. I'm sure we all recall the stories of this young Kansan who could no longer use his right upper extremity. But while perhaps other law schools were discouraging in him starting, Washburn University opened their arms to him and accommodated him. And he allowed him to record lectures and listen to them at night. And I'm guessing, and actually I know this for a fact when I spoke with Senator Dole, when he wrote and fought for the Americans with Disabilities Act, his dreams and memories took him back to this campus on Washburn University. And what he may have recalled is your alma mater's motto, non nobis solum, not by ourselves alone. A few days go by when I don't think of Senator Dole. Between walking by his portrait, which sits adjacent to the Senate floor at our nation's capital, or his famous leader's balcony. And though other majority leaders now occupy those seats, it's still Bob Dole's balcony. It's just a few yards from this chamber, and I enjoy walking by and reminiscing of him. And I often meet people that used to work for him, and as they tell me, if you were ever a Dole staffer, you're always a Dole staffer. And those people are still around and influencing my life. And every time I go to the World War II Memorial, we have to stop and think of Senator Dole, and there's a little plaque there where he would sit and greet those soldiers, whether they are from Kansas or other states. And we all know there'd be no World War II Memorial without Senator Dole. But what I really feel his presence is moments like this, when I come back to the state, when I'm doing town halls or round tables, or especially shaking hands at the state fair. And as I hear the concerns and the collective wisdom of the people of Kansas, I can almost hear his voice as he told me most every time I saw him. He would say, Roger, go back home and listen to the people of Kansas. They will have the answers to your tough issues that we face. These answers, this wisdom, is found in all four corners of our state and everywhere in between. The wisdom comes from Kansans of all walks of life. Indeed, each day I serve Kansans in the Senate, it's not lost to me what an honor and privilege it is to follow in Senator Dole's enormous footsteps. From this day forward, every scholar who walks through the doors of this beautiful facility will see the name Robert J. Dole emblazoned on its walls. And when they do, they'll remember Senator Dole's legacy, his service to Kansans and to citizens of this great nation. But beyond that, I hope when freshmen enter this hall for the first time, or when they're studying here late at night, they all realize this is the place where he relearned to write, where he honed his incredible memory, and where he rebuilt his life and built his incredible career. This is where he became the legendary problem solver and how to work through that adversity. I hope his story, his legacy will help inspire the accomplishments of the next generation. To everyone at the law school, to the alumni and faculty and all the donors who made this facility possible, congratulations on the opening of the Robert J. Dole Hall. Thanks to this state-of-the-art facility and the world-class staff who work here, Washburn University will continue to grow its reputation as a leader in law, producing graduates in the mold of legendary public servants like Bob Dole. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much, Senator Marshall. It is now my pleasure to introduce the other half of our Senate delegation, Senator Jerry Moran.
President, thank you. President, I was pleased to hear in your introduction a moment ago that you were been at Washburn for 30 years and then became president. It gives hope to all of us who served so long in public life that there's still opportunities. After 30 years, maybe we too. I'm pleased to be here in recognition certainly of Senator Dole, but also in regard to this law school. Washburn University is a huge component of Kansas. Its graduates are important in communities across our state. Its faculty, they are involved in providing advice to practitioners, but in providing advice to people in the field. What happens at Washburn University has a significant and huge influence, an effect upon Kansas today and Kansas into the future. We need good lawyers. Now especially, particularly in rural Kansas, the graduates of this university are in dire need. It's easy sometimes, and we've seen this in our public discourse, to discount lawyers. But the reality is they provide justice, they provide advice, they bring people together, they solve people's problems. And across our state, counties are now advertising for Kansans to come practice law in their communities. It's a sign of how necessary a lawyer is when they're absent. Easy to say, we need no lawyers until we don't have them. And that's the circumstance we find ourselves across our state. So Washburn University has and can continue to be the provider of those who practice law, who help us write our contracts, who solve our domestic disputes, who help us buy a business, who settle our families' estates, who make a difference in people's lives. One of the predecessors to my remarks here said, we are educating and pursuing lawyers and public servants. The point I would try to make is lawyers are public servants. And so their role in our lives and our communities are significant. And Washburn University is significant in making sure that they have the opportunity and that we have the opportunity to enjoy the benefits of their practice. Bob Dole was the first United States Senator I ever met. My hometown, Plainville, is an adjoining county to Russell. So I knew of him, but he was the first senator I ever had the chance to shake a hand. I've now been in awe of Bob Dole for more than 50 years. Kansans still, and no offense to Roger, and this is not intended there, and it's certainly, I'll take the blame. Kansans still long for the days in which Bob Dole and Nancy Kassebaum were their senators. It's an applause line, Roger. I may use it again. But the reality, that is the reality. In talking to Kansans on an ongoing, daily basis, I once walked across the street to vote with a senator named Ed Markey. Senator Markey is a senator, Democratic senator from Massachusetts, and we don't have a lot in common, but we discovered that the folks in Massachusetts, he could never meet their standards by being Ted Kennedy. And I said, I can relate to that. I can never meet the standards of being Bob Dole. That doesn't mean that I and others shouldn't try. I know Bob Dole personally, but I know Bob Dole from the conversations I have with Kansans and people in the nation's capital. They express their views about what he did for them, what he meant to them, how important he was to them. If there was a model in public service, isn't it about getting to the point in which people say to the public servant, you meant something to me? But it's not just elected officials, and perhaps it's certainly not just lawyers but all of us ought to work to the point that Bob Dole achieved, in which so many people, almost everyone he met, including Democrats and adversaries, said what he meant to them. What a compliment that is to Senator Dole. I'm worried, and a reason that we need good lawyers, well-trained and educated, is we need to defend our public institutions. The dispensing of justice by a court is important to the cohesiveness of our nation. We need people who fairly administer the law and who defend the process by which we get to the point that that decision is made. And here in Robert J. Dole Hall and in Washburn School of Law, that's where we now train the next generation who defend the pillars of what brings our society and our nation together. Probably, in fact, I thought about saying I was pessimistic. I'm worried about America. I worry about, with the absence of, when Senator Dole's lied in state in the rotunda, the statue of Dwight D. Eisenhower was filling the room. What is our country's future in the absence of that greatest generation, those World War II servants? I've debated whether to express concern to you or just be optimistic. But as I wrote my notes, I know how Bob Dole would think. And I'm relieved to know that Bob Dole always was the optimist. Bob Dole was a man of hope. Hope for recovery, hope for those with disabilities to have full access to the world around them, hope that no child would go to bed hungry, hope that every veteran would receive the care and benefits they earned. Senator Dole in 1996 on the Senate floor, when he departed the United States Senate to pursue his goal of becoming president, he said, "I agree with the prairie poet," and he was speaking of Carl Sandburg. "I agree with the prairie poet who said, 'Yesterday is a wind gone down, a sun dropped in the west.' I tell you that there's nothing in the world, only an ocean of tomorrows, only a sky of tomorrows. And like everybody here, I'm an optimist, and I believe that our best tomorrows are yet to come." The Washburn School of Law, the Dole involvement in the School of Law, give us the hope for another generation of Kansans who follow in the footsteps of Bob Dole. Bob Dole's legal career was a significant component of his public service. The story that is told over and over and over again, that I repeat here, knowing it must be true because it's been said so many times, is that late one night in Russell, in the county courthouse, the light on the third floor office was beaming as Huck Boyd, then the Republican National Committeeman, the publisher of the Phillipsburg Review, drove through Russell and saw the light on. There that public servant is at work, and Huck Boyd wanted to know, who is this person that's working in the courthouse at midnight? So we wandered up the steps to the third floor and discovered Bob Dole. And it began the history. It began the story of how Bob Dole, war hero, law student, county attorney, state legislator, became a United States senator and a presidential candidate on more than one occasion. And it's a story that is worth telling because it is an example for each and all of us today and the future. Washburn does Bob Dole, but does Kansas and America a great service by designating this law school the Robert J. Dole School of Law. Thank you for allowing me to be with you.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Senator Moran. And thank you to both of our senators for everything you do for Washburn and for our great state of Kansas. And finally, to mark this historic day and to say a few words about what it means for Kansas, I am so proud to introduce Governor Kelly. Governor Kelly.
Too hot. Sit down. So if I could, before I start, go on record. Senator Moran, when you suggested that we would all prefer that Bob Dole and Nancy Cashenbaum be our senators, I did not applaud.
You're a good politician.
So, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, President Mazichek, for that introduction and for your leadership of Washburn University and for inviting me to join you on this very special day. I also want to acknowledge Marshall Meek, Jeff Jackson, Senator Moran, Senator Marshall, and Robin Dole. I am really delighted to be here with you all to celebrate the ribbon cutting for Washburn University's Law School, Robert J. Dole Hall, especially on the eve of what would have been Senator Dole's 100th birthday. Some of you may know that earlier this month I issued a proclamation proclaiming July 2023 Bob Dole Month in honor of that milestone. But the truth is, here in Kansas, every month is Bob Dole Month. As you just heard, and practically every plaza is Bob Dole Plaza, right? So, as you just heard from Senator Moran, Senator Marshall, and Robin Dole, our state would not be what it is today without having had Bob Dole. And we all owe him a huge debt of gratitude for everything he did over the course of his life to create a better Kansas, a better America, and a better world. So it's fitting that this building is being named for him, and not just because he's a distinguished alum of Washburn Law, but also because Washburn University and its law school have done so much in their own right to give back to Kansas and put our state on the map. In the 120 years since its founding, Washburn Law has developed bright young minds who have gone on to be attorneys, judges, ambassadors, and public servants all across Kansas and well beyond, and who have made their mark on American history, including a number of graduates who played key roles in the pivotal civil rights case, Brown versus Topeka Board of Education. I personally have benefited from Washburn Law School's deep talent pool. My chief of staff, who's standing right over there, Will Lawrence, is an alum of both Washburn's undergraduate program and the law school. Will has been with me since 2010, when, as an undergraduate, he interned for me in my state senate office, and then later joined my gubernatorial team as the youngest chief of staff in the country. Many of the values imparted to the students here at Washburn are the same values that Senator Dole lived by, both as a human being and as a public servant. He believed in the power of compromise, understood the need to find common ground in order to get things done. And he was living proof that extraordinary challenges can be overcome through hard work, through determination, and resilience. He truly embodied, maybe better than anybody else, our state's motto, ad astra per aspera. I can't think of a more fitting way to acknowledge the indelible link between Bob Dole and Washburn University and pay tribute to their shared values and their myriad of contributions to Kansas than by naming this law school building after our late, great, beloved native son.
Thank you so much, Governor Kelly. Thank you for joining us today to celebrate this remarkable new building and unleashing of a new era of legal education at Washburn. And now, as we wrap up our special dedication event today, I want to thank each of you for being here today to celebrate this moment in time. and to help all of us realize this bold vision of a new law building coming to life. This is a once-in-a-lifetime day for many of us. It is not every day that we open a brand new law school building or commemorate such a historic occasion. Momentarily, you will all be able to go inside and see this grand new building and begin to imagine the learning, the conversations, the lawyers and leaders of tomorrow who will call this place special, a place where their minds are going to be stretched, their ideas formed, and their vision for the future begin to be shaped. It is truly a magnificent day to celebrate. But first, it is now time for us to officially cut the ribbon. So we've invited a handful of people to join us up at the ribbon. It's very small, so don't worry. If you folks could please make your way up here along the north ramp to my right, and we will cut the ribbon. And then please fill in behind us, and we will take a few photos before we cut the ribbon and open the doors.
Something here?
All right, thank you all for being here to commemorate this truly historic day. I now declare Robert J. Dole Hall at the Washburn University School of Law open. Please come inside and join us in our new home.